There are some truths you don't hide because you want to. You hide them because telling them would destroy everything. I've lived with mine for 7 years. 7 years of silence. 7 years of pretending. 7 years of loving someone, while knowing one day it could all fall apart. My name is Ethan Miller. I'm 39 years old, and if you met me, you'd probably think I have the perfect life. A stable career, a beautiful home, a wife who loves me more than I deserve. Her name is Olivia, and she has no idea who I really am. We met 8 years ago. Back then, everything about me was simple, or at least, it looked that way. I told her I worked in logistics consulting. Safe, vague, boring. She never questioned it. Why would she? I came home every evening. I paid the bills. I was there for her when it mattered. To her, I was just reliable. But the truth? I wasn't just moving numbers on spreadsheets. I was part of something much bigger. Something I promised myself I would leave behind. 7 years ago, before Olivia and I got married, I worked for a private intelligence firm. Not the kind you see in movies. No flashy gadgets, no dramatic car chases. Just information. Sensitive, powerful, dangerous information. We handled cases that never made it to the news. Corporate espionage, high-level fraud, people with too much money, and too many secrets. And I was good at it. Too good. That's why they trusted me with a case I should have never accepted. It started like any other assignment. A financial audit request. A tech company suspected of internal leaks. Nothing unusual. Until I saw the name tied to the investigation. Olivia Carter. I remember staring at the file for a long time, thinking it had to be a coincidence. But it wasn't. She wasn't my wife yet. We had only been dating for a few months. She had never mentioned anything unusual about her job. But according to the file, she had access to restricted data. And there were signs someone inside her company was selling information. I should have stepped away, reported the conflict, requested reassignment. But I didn't. That was my first mistake. Instead, I kept digging, quietly, carefully, telling myself I was just making sure she wasn't involved. Because if she wasn't, then I could protect her. That's what I told myself. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. And the deeper I went, the more complicated everything became. There were transactions, encrypted communications, hidden accounts, and one name that kept appearing over and over again. Not Olivia's, someone else, someone close to her. I still remember the moment I uncovered the truth. It was late, almost midnight, office empty, just me, and a screen full of data. I traced a transaction through 3 different accounts, then 4, then 5, and finally, it stopped at a name I recognized instantly. Daniel Carter, Olivia's older brother. My chest tightened. Everything clicked into place. He had access through her. He was using her credentials, routing information through systems she had clearance for. And she had no idea. At least, that's what I believed. I sat there for a long time, processing, thinking, trying to figure out what to do next. Protocol was clear. Report everything, names included, which meant Olivia would be pulled into the investigation, questioned, her life turned upside down, even if she was innocent. I couldn't let that happen. That was my second mistake. So I did something I had never done before. I altered the report. Not completely, just enough. I removed her name, rerouted the access trail, made it look like Daniel had an independent breach point. Clean, convincing, undetectable. At least, I thought it was. The case closed 2 months later. Daniel disappeared shortly after. No charges, no headlines, just gone. And Olivia? She never knew any of it happened. A year later, I quit the firm, told everyone I wanted a normal life. Less stress, more stability. That part wasn't a lie. I just didn't tell them the real reason. I left because I crossed a line, and I knew if I stayed, I'd cross it again. So I walked away, built a new life, married Olivia, and buried the truth deep. For 7 years, it stayed buried. Until one day, it didn't. It was a normal evening, nothing special. I came home, loosened my tie, and found Olivia in the living room, holding something in her hands. A file. My heart dropped instantly, because I recognized it. Old, faded edges. A document that should have never left that world. She looked up at me. Her eyes weren't angry. They were worse. Confused. "Ethan," she said softly. "What is this?" I didn't move. Couldn't. Because in that moment, 7 years of silence was about to break. And I knew one thing for sure. There was no way to stop it anymore. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I knew exactly what would happen once I did. Olivia was still sitting on the couch, the file resting on her lap, her fingers lightly gripping the edges, like she was afraid it might disappear if she let go. "Where did you get that?" I finally asked. My voice sounded calm, too calm. She didn't answer right away, just looked at me, studied my face like she was trying to read something I had spent years hiding. "It was in the storage box," she said quietly. "The one you told me never to open." My chest tightened. 7 years, and that's where it all unraveled. "I was cleaning," she continued. "I didn't think it was a big deal. It wasn't, until it was. I found this," she said, lifting the file slightly. And then I started reading. I took a step closer. Slow, careful. "How much did you read?" I asked. She didn't look down, didn't hesitate. Enough. That one word hit harder than anything else. Enough. Could mean everything. "And?" I asked quietly. Her lips parted slightly, then closed again, like she wasn't sure how to even begin. "It doesn't make sense," she said finally. "Your name is on this, not as a consultant, but as an investigator." I didn't respond. "And this company," she continued, flipping a page, "this is where I used to work." My silence confirmed it. Her eyes shifted back to mine. "Ethan, what is this?" There it was again. The same question, but heavier now. Not curiosity anymore. Doubt. I exhaled slowly. "I need you to stay calm," I said. "That was a mistake." Her expression changed instantly. "Stay calm?" she repeated. "You've been lying to me for years and you want me to stay calm?" "I didn't lie," I said quickly. Her eyes hardened. "Then what do you call this?" She held up the file. I hesitated, just for a second. "I didn't tell you everything," I admitted. She let out a short, bitter laugh. "That's not the same thing?" "No, it wasn't, but it didn't matter anymore." I walked closer and stopped a few feet in front of her. "That file is from my old job," I said. "Before we got married." "I figured that," she replied. "What I don't understand is why my name is in it." My chest tightened again, because this was the part I had been avoiding for 7 years. "You were part of an investigation," I said carefully. Her face went still. "What?" "It wasn't what you think," I added quickly. "Then explain it," she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was firm, and there was no escaping it now. I ran a hand through my hair, took a breath. "Your company had a data breach," I began. "They suspected someone inside was leaking sensitive information." She frowned slightly. "I never heard about that." "I know." "Why not?" "Because I made sure you didn't. But I didn't say that. Not yet. It was handled internally," I said. She stared at me, unconvinced, and I was part of the team investigating it. Her grip tightened on the file. "So you were spying on my company?" she asked. "Yes. And on me?" That question, I felt it. "No," I said firmly. She held my gaze, searching. "Not directly," I added. Her expression changed again. "Not directly?" she repeated. I exhaled slowly. I was assigned to the case before I knew you worked there, I said. When I found out, I should have stepped away. But you didn't. No. Silence filled the room. Heavy, uncomfortable. Why? She asked. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Because I needed to know if you were involved. The words hung in the air. Her face went pale. Involved? In what? I hesitated, but there was no point holding back anymore. Selling information. Her eyes widened. What? I didn't think you were, I said quickly. But I had to be sure. She stood up suddenly, the file slipping slightly in her hands. That's insane, she said. You thought I was some kind of criminal? No, I replied. I thought someone was using your access. She froze. What? I nodded slowly. I found evidence of leaks, I said. Transactions, data transfers, everything pointed to someone close to you. Her breathing slowed. Who? She asked. I didn't answer immediately, because this was the moment. Everything truly broke. Ethan, she said, her voice sharper now. Who? I swallowed. Your brother. The silence that followed was absolute. No, she whispered. I didn't look away. That's not possible. It is. You're wrong, she said quickly. You have to be wrong. I'm not. She shook her head, stepping back. No, Daniel would never. He did, I said quietly. Her eyes filled with confusion, pain, denial. Then why didn't I know? She demanded. Why didn't anyone tell me? Because I made sure they didn't. I closed my eyes briefly, then opened them again. Because I changed the report. That was it. That was the moment everything shattered. Her face went completely still. What did you say? I removed your name, I said. I made it look like he acted alone. The file slipped from her hands, falling to the floor with a soft thud. You... what? I protected you, I said. Her expression twisted. Protected me? She repeated. Yes. By lying! She snapped. I didn't want you dragged into it. So you decided that for me? She shot back. You decided what I deserved to know about my own life. I didn't have an answer, because there wasn't one. You let me live with him, she said. You let me trust him. Her voice cracked. And all this time, you knew? I looked down, just for a second. Yes, that was all it took. Tears filled her eyes, but they didn't fall. You lied to me every single day, she whispered. No, I said quietly. I just didn't tell you the truth. She let out a broken laugh. That's the same thing, Ethan. Maybe it was. Maybe it always had been. She stepped back again, putting distance between us. I don't even know who you are anymore, she said. That hurt, more than anything else. Olivia, don't, she cut in. Her voice wasn't loud, but it stopped me instantly. I need space, she said. I nodded slowly, because for the first time, I realized something I hadn't before. This wasn't just about the secret. It was about the choice I made, the one I thought would protect her, but instead destroyed her trust completely. The house felt different after that. Not empty, not quiet, just unfamiliar. Olivia didn't leave that night, but she didn't stay either. Not really. She locked herself in the guest room. And for the first time in 7 years, we slept under the same roof, as strangers. I didn't try to knock, didn't try to explain, because deep down, I knew anything I said would only make it worse. Some truths don't need more words. They just need time to sink in. But time wasn't something I had. The next morning, I woke up to silence. No coffee brewing. No soft music from the kitchen. No good morning. Just stillness. I walked down the hallway slowly. Stopped in front of the guest room. The door was open. Inside. It was empty. My chest tightened. Olivia? I called out. No response. I checked the living room, kitchen, backyard. Nothing. Then I saw it. A note, sitting on the table. I picked it up, hands steady, but something inside me already knew. I need time. Don't call me. Olivia. Short, simple, final. I exhaled slowly, folding the paper carefully. This wasn't anger anymore. This was distance. And distance is harder to fix. I sat down on the couch, staring at nothing. For years, I told myself I made the right choice. That hiding the truth protected her, protected us. But now, all I could see was what it cost. 3 days passed. No calls, no messages. I didn't reach out. Not because I didn't want to, but because she asked me not to. And for once, I respected that. On the 4th day, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Almost. But something made me answer. Hello? Silence. Then, Ethan? My body went still. I knew that voice, even after all these years. Daniel, a quiet breath on the other end. Yeah, he said. It's me. Every muscle in my body tensed. How did you get this number? I asked. I still have connections, he replied calmly. Of course he did. People like Daniel don't just disappear. What do you want? I asked. A pause. Then, I heard Olivia knows. My grip tightened on the phone. You've been watching? I said. Not watching, he replied. Just keeping track. That didn't make it better. You shouldn't have told her, he said. I felt something cold settle in my chest. I didn't, I replied. Another pause. Then how? She found out, I said. On her own. Silence. Then a quiet exhale. 7 years, he murmured. And it still came back. That sentence. It hit differently. You knew this could happen, I said. Yeah, he replied. I did. I stood up slowly, pacing now. Why are you calling? I asked again. This time, his tone changed. More serious. Because you don't understand what you started. I stopped walking. Explain. You think this is just about Olivia finding out? He said. It's not. My chest tightened slightly. Then what is it? Another pause. Then, people are asking questions again. That made my heart drop. What people? I asked. The same ones you used to work for. Silence filled my side of the line. That wasn't possible. That case is closed, I said. It was, he replied. Until someone reopened the file. My mind started racing. Why would they do that? I asked. Because something doesn't add up anymore. I felt it. That creeping feeling. The past, coming back. You altered the report, Daniel continued. You covered tracks. I protected someone innocent, I said. You manipulated evidence, he corrected. I didn't respond, because he wasn't wrong. And now, he added, they're starting to notice. My grip on the phone tightened. What are you saying? I asked. I'm saying this isn't just your secret anymore, he replied. It's a liability. That word hit hard. Are you being investigated? I asked. A short laugh. Always, he said. But this time, it's different. How? They're not just looking at me, he said quietly. They're looking at you. Silence. That wasn't supposed to happen. I left that world. I walked away. I buried everything. How much do they know? I asked. Not everything, Daniel said, but enough to start digging. I ran a hand through my hair. And Olivia? I asked. Another pause. She's asking questions, too. My chest tightened again. Of course she is. You need to talk to her, he said. I tried. No, he replied. You explained. That's not the same thing. I frowned slightly. What's that supposed to mean? It means you told her facts, he said. But you didn't tell her the truth. I went still. What truth? I asked. Silence. Then, the part where you had a choice. My heart skipped. I did what I had to do, I said. No, Daniel replied quietly. You did what you wanted to do. That hit harder than anything else. Because deep down, I knew he was right. You didn't just protect her, he continued. You protected yourself. I didn't answer, because I couldn't. Think about it, he said. If she was involved, what would that have done to you? I closed my eyes. Everything. It would have destroyed everything. You weren't just saving her, he said. You were saving your future. The line went quiet, and for the first time, I couldn't argue, because that truth was one I had never admitted, not even to myself. Why are you telling me this? I asked. A long pause. Then, because if you don't fix this, Daniel said, you're going to lose everything anyway. The call ended, just like that. I stood there, phone still in my hand, mind racing. For years, I believed the past was buried. But now, it wasn't just coming back. It was pulling everything down with it. And this time, I wasn't sure I could stop it. I didn't move for a long time after the call ended. Daniel's words kept echoing in my head. They're looking at you. For 7 years, I convinced myself I had walked away clean. No traces, no loose ends, no consequences. But deep down, I always knew that wasn't true. You don't alter an investigation file and just move on. That kind of thing doesn't disappear. It waits. And now, it was back. I looked around the house. Everything felt different. The photos on the wall, the quiet living room, the life I built with Olivia, all of it suddenly felt fragile, like it could collapse at any moment. I grabbed my keys. I didn't even think about it. There was only one thing I could do now. Find out how bad this really was. By noon, I was standing in front of a building I hadn't seen in 7 years. Same glass exterior, same security gates, same cold, controlled atmosphere. The place I used to work. I took a slow breath and walked inside. The receptionist didn't recognize me. Of course she didn't, but the system did. My name still triggered access limited, but enough. That was the first sign. They hadn't erased me. Mr. Miller? I turned. A man in a dark suit was walking toward me. Mid, 50S, sharp eyes, calm expression. I recognized him instantly. Harris, one of the senior directors. Didn't expect to see you here, he said. Didn't expect to come back, I replied. A faint smile crossed his face. No one ever does. We stood there for a second, silent. Then he gestured toward a hallway. Walk with me. Not a request. I followed. The building hadn't changed. Still quiet. Still precise. Still unsettling. You've been busy, Harris said, casually. I frowned slightly. What does that mean? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he opened a door and stepped into a conference room. I followed. Inside, there were files on the table. One of them had my name on it. My chest tightened. Harris closed the door behind us. No point pretending, he said. You know why you're here. I looked at the file, then back at him. You reopened the case, I said. We reviewed it, he corrected. Why? He walked over to the table and tapped the file lightly. Because something didn't add up. I stayed quiet. He opened it, flipped a few pages. 7 years ago, he continued. You submitted a report on a data breach investigation. I remember. I'm sure you do, he said. His eyes met mine. Sharp. Because it was altered. There it was, out in the open. I didn't deny it. No point. You removed a